What we do is help people to read the Bible in their own language. And sometimes it's reading the Bible and sometimes it's hearing the Bible. But the reason why we do it is people don't have the Bible in their own language. And so they might go to church on Sunday or during the week and hear the Bible being read in a foreign language, but they don't understand what it says. And so we have seen through our own experiences and studies that have been done that it makes a much greater impact if people have the Word of God in their own language. So our main goal is to see people's lives transformed by the Word of God when they read it in their own language. The first thing that we did in Cameroon was learning the local language. So we went into the village of Bafanji and found a place to call home, and we began to ask people, how we want to learn your language. If you'd like to help us, we would love to learn how to communicate with you in your own language. So we had different methods of doing that, using pictures or following people around to their farms, and we would write down things. We would eventually put these things into a computer program that would help us with later dictionary development. And it's a big challenge because it's a tonal language, and we didn't grow up with a tonal language, and it's quite challenging to figure all of that out.
As we were learning the language, we were also writing down words using an 1800 word list. Like we had 1800 English words, and we were trying to find what the Bafanji words for those were. And we took that word list then and figured out what are the important sounds of the Bafanji language so that we could create an alphabet for them. So that was our first task. As we were learning the language, we were also putting together their basic sound inventory into an alphabet so that the language could be written for the first time.
There are a few sounds in Bafanji that don't occur in English. One of them is the vowel U. There's also what we call a glottal stop. It's a catch in your throat that sounds a little bit like the word uh-oh in English. So you get uh-oh, and it's the same kind of thing, except in the Bafanji language they have words like fa and ju and pa and fe. So these kinds of words exist with that little catch in your throat, and that's actually a real consonant in that language. Okay. A daily routine is kind of hard to answer. Sometimes I will be working on my computer from home. I'll be looking through examples of sentences and looking for patterns for a certain grammatical issue that I'm working with. There are other days I will go to an office and work with some other guys from the Bafanji village. Sometimes I'm working with the translators as they are editing their translation, and they look at it from their side and I look at it from my side, and sometimes there are different types of things that we look for. I look more on the side of punctuation and spelling and following whatever kinds of structures that I'm aware of that are sometimes not as easy to catch when you're translating. And sometimes they just do a marvelous job, and they realize what they've translated sounds wooden to them, and they say, "Oh, this isn't what it should be like," and they reword things and type it out in a program so that it gets saved for the translation when it gets printed.
Yeah, until this year, I've been homeschooling the kids. So most of my time has been focused around homeschooling or arranging the trips that we might have to take to do the work we do. Sometimes we have to go to Yaoundé for a conference. Sometimes we have to go to another village to be involved in something. So kind of family scheduling. And yeah, sometimes Cam's working from home, and sometimes he's in the office every day, and sometimes he goes away for a few weeks to teach a course. So that always, affects what's going on in our life. And so far, I've, just kind of fit in linguistic work in between the kids' programming. But now the kids are going to be going to school in Yaoundé. We're going to be living in the capital city next door to the school. So the kids can walk easily to school. They're going to be gone from 7:30 in the morning until 3:30 or 4 or 5 p.m. in the afternoon, and my life is changing drastically. So I don't know what combination yet. It's something we're praying about, like, and asking God what He has for us, but will be of me working at home and people coming, that we're finding people in Yaoundé that speak one of the Ndop languages. I love dictionary work, and so I love to help get a good spelling list so that everyone can be spelling things the same way, and they have, even translators could have a list of things to choose from when they're looking for how do you translate some of these words. I would love to be involved with that. And I have been in the past, and maybe it'll be more full time. I also hope that maybe there'll be times where I can go for a week up to Mbuda area and be able to work in the office, and that our family will be able to manage without me for periods of time. So, um, I did most of my language learning around a fireside where they were cooking food and taking care of their kids. So my vocabulary is more kid oriented. I also think it's a lot more oral. Cam's worked a lot more with the written text. I also have a very high tolerance for imperfection, which means I'm willing to guess a lot of the time what they've said, and I could be wrong or it could be right. But I'm willing to, and I'm also fairly imperfect in the way I speak, which is okay as long as they can understand. So we have different strategies and strengths for sure. Cam's much more likely to be accurate.
We start with Luke because when you translate the Gospel of Luke, it's easy to copy and paste into the script for the Jesus film. So just moving like that, you bring a technician in who can do the voiceovers and get all of the recordings done and dubbing and everything, and then from our perspective, as soon as you finish translation, it's ready for the Jesus film to be completed, and then that becomes an evangelistic tool right away, the very first movie in their own language.